Hey, what's going on, man? Coach Tyler here with Black Diamond Softball and Fitness, and we've got a brand new episode of the Foul Pole Daily Show. Today is Tuesday, January 23rd, and right now we are about 2 weeks away from the start of the college softball season. Cannot wait for that, man. I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to see kind of how it shakes out early on, and then see who's left standing at the end of the season. Here in South Carolina, the high school players are gearing up for a season as well. Right now, they're in the middle of winter workouts. Most of the teams are going to be starting their tryouts next week, and then they'll be getting into their preseason tournaments and stuff like that. So, man, softball is coming. Just got to hold on a couple of more weeks, and we'll be right in the thick of things. And then, of course, before you know it, it'll all be said and done for the 2024 season. But with that being said, before we jump into the episode for today, I did want to remind you about our YouTube channel. That's at youtube.com/@foulpole2foulpole. A lot of good stuff going on over there. Putting up a lot of shorts, a lot of highlights, sort of gearing up for the season. Everybody's excited. We break down some drills and we get into some different things. A lot of recruiting talk, a lot of tips and advice for those athletes that are hoping to play at the collegiate level. So we break down some stuff there. And also the video versions of our podcast are up. A lot of you guys have seen the Coach Scotty Kilgore episode, the associate head coach from the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. Great episode. Such a great person, great mentor. Breaks down a lot of different things and gives his opinions on sort of the state of softball and sort of takes us through the steps of what UTC does in preparation for their year. So a lot of good stuff, man. If you guys want to check that out, please go over there. Subscribe to the channel. It's at Foul Pole to Foul Pole on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notifications so you won't miss an episode. As we get into today's episode, I did want to get into coaching. Earlier today, I posted in one of the Facebook forums just asking the opinions of, do you think coaches, well, I'll tell you the question that I posed was, can someone teach the game if they never played the game? And of course I have my opinion on that, and I'll give you my opinion. I don't necessarily feel that you have to play the game to be an effective coach. There are numerous examples of coaches in any sport that were either not very good or just didn't play that game at a competitive level and became some of the greatest coaches of all time. Many examples out there. For example, you can look at someone like Nick Saban, recently retired head football coach at Alabama, right? He played at Kent State. Wasn't the greatest. Wasn't terrible. He did play collegiate ball, but wasn't a superstar by any stretch. And then joined the coaching ranks. And before you know it, he's retiring now. And probably he's at least on the Mount Rushmore of college football coaches, but probably the greatest college football coach of all time. And players that have, if you've heard any stories and heard players talk, players have said that as good of as an X and O's coach as he is, he's a great mentor. He's an even better person, a better human being, because he can get the most out of these student athletes, not just on the ball field, but in life. And that kind of leads me into my point of, coaching is way different than playing. You can have an understanding of the game and what you want to do and what's the best thing to do and different breakdowns and different approaches and stuff like that. And you not be able to do those same movements. You're just not athletic enough. But you can get the most out of your athletes. You can explain a philosophy. You can explain a drill. A mindset. You can mentor these athletes through different things and get the most out of them without ever having to step on the field. You look at some of the greatest coaches that are in softball right now, like a Patrick Murphy or a Mike White or, name them. John Rittman. Males that, didn't play fast pitch at a high level, if they ever played fast pitch at all. But here they are leading 3 of the, say, top 10 teams, top 20 teams in the country, and have been that way for the last few years, right? You look at Mike White from Oregon over into Texas, a perennial powerhouse. Look at what Coach Murph has done in Alabama. Has kept Alabama at the top of the SEC for as long as you can remember. And you look at John Rittman, the first coach in Clemson history, has got Clemson battling in the College World Series, battling for a national championship year after year now. So it's just, you don't necessarily have to be a player to be an effective leader and to be an effective coach. You've got to be able to get your philosophy across. You've got to learn, and you've also got to experience different things. You've got to study the game. There's a lot that goes into it. And that's one thing, man, you've got to be a study nut. Learning from different people that have been there and done that. Learn from the players. Ask the players what's going on. How do you feel? Look at analytics, break, different things down. We're talking about launch angles, and we're talking about exit velocities and different things now that are almost synonymous with the sport. So, no, you don't have to be a all-time great player to be a great coach. And matter of fact, talk about some of these players that went into the coaching ranks. And just because they were superstar players, everyone thought they were going to be great coaches. Well, for whatever reason, it never works out that way, or at least I don't think. I don't know the last time, I can't remember a time, honestly, that a superstar player became a superstar coach. We can get into, let's talk about the NBA. Look at Michael Jordan. Wasn't a coach, but as an executive, imagine if he was as good as of an executive as he was as a ball player. That would be the best, teams. The Charlotte Hornets would be the best team ever, right? But unfortunately, it just doesn't work like that. You look at someone like a Steve Kerr, who is an established coach, one of the best coaches in the NBA, has won some championships. He wasn't necessarily a superstar. He did make it to the professional ranks and play, but I'm talking superstar Hall of Fame level. As a player, he's not there, but as a Hall of Fame coach, absolutely. People say that former players, they don't coach well because they didn't have to work as hard. Well, if you're a superstar, you're working your butt off and you're working hard. So I don't know if that's necessarily the answer, but there's definitely something. But yeah, leave me a comment or shoot me a message or whatever, and give me an example of a coach that was also a superstar standout player. I'd love to know, because I've been racking my brain and I can't find them. But anyway, recently, Coach JT Gasso was named the associate head coach over at Oklahoma. Now, he's been there for about 10 years or so. I think he came on board in 2012, 2013 as a grad assistant there at Oklahoma, which is, could you imagine being a grad assistant at Oklahoma under your mom, Patty Gasso? But nonetheless, since he's been there, Oklahoma has been on an absolute tear offensively. I know they're good all around, but offensively, he's been able to impact the team. It's crazy. Okay, over the last 10 years, you look at Oklahoma, 800 home runs hit. They score almost 8 runs a game. They've had 6 Big 12 Players of the Year. And as a team, they hit 350, a batting average of 350. I mean, that's just crazy. When he first got there, he did some hitting instruction, but he was more of like an analyst, like breaking down film, study, that, like a scout, sort of that. And he's kind of made his way up through now to where he is the associate head coach, which is awesome. So his impact on the game is tremendous, being able to get the most out of his players, get them to believe in a certain philosophy, be able to mentor these athletes to do great things. And of course, he never stepped foot on the softball field competitively, at least not that I know of. I don't remember him playing college softball or professional softball or any of that. You know what I mean? So as a coach, he's able to get these girls to buy in and do the daggone thing because of the type of person he is and the type of coach that he is. And they understand he didn't play the game, but they listen to him. They believe in him. And if they didn't, they wouldn't be as successful as they are. So, go back to my original point. Do you have to play it to coach it? No. There are some that will feel that way. Former players feel adamant about that because there is something to say about just living that experience and be able to teach from that experience. And I completely understand that. But being able to share that experience and be able to coach from that experience gives you a heads up, but it's not the end all be all. You still got to be able to help these athletes get the most out of themselves. And your experience may help you, but also being able to continue to learn the game and to experience as much as you can experience as a coach. Just like anything in life, the more you play, the better you're going to be. The more you coach, the better coach you're going to be, hopefully, right? and learning from each other. And it happens. We put different posts out there sometimes, and we'll get trolls. I can't think of his name, but today he said that the question that I asked was the dumbest post he'd ever seen or something like that. And I'm cool with it. If he didn't even read the question, he took it as a statement saying that he's saying that I said you had to coach or you had to play to be a coach. And that's actually the complete opposite of the way I feel, and in my opinion. But, it is what it is. He was able to get behind his keyboard and say whatever he wanted to say, and I'm cool with it. But anywho, if you guys haven't checked out that page yet, it's coaching softball tips and drills and stuff like that. A lot of good information on there. Mike Zimmer does a great job sort of monitoring that. And he's got over 150,000 members on there. So a lot of good stuff on there. If you haven't checked out our blog page, that's at foulpool2foulpool.wixsite.com. Pretty good stuff on there. We try to share some knowledge, about 2, 3, 4 minute reads, and just talking about different things. If you like to read, if you find that kind of stuff fun to do, we try to put it out there as much as we can. Again, the YouTube channel at foulpool2foulpool on YouTube. And we also have the Black Diamond page too. That's at Black Diamond Softball and Fitness. That channel's got about 20,000 subscribers. So that's just popping off. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you know someone, share it with them. And if you share it with a friend, make sure you tell them you love them.